Hello fellow Clashers, it is KairosTime, and today we've got a special deck right here. I'm going to be doing a challenge-winning deck episode on, it's really fantastic. We'll go ahead and open up this challenge chest. Now, this is not the first time that I won a challenge with this deck. In fact, I've won 4 classic challenges with this deck, and I've gotten 10 wins in grand challenges pretty easily. The reason why I like this deck so much is because of how good it is at 3-crowning your opponent's tower. It's a crown farming deck for classic challenges, and it's absolutely fantastic. Works very well. Now I understand maybe not everybody has the bandit. You can switch out the bandit for the lumberjack, but if you do that, make sure that you switch out that mega minion for the dart goblin as well, and that is a great option to use if you do not have that bandit in there. The deck kind of plays similar in those types of situations, and I'll be talking about all the ways that you're going to be playing this deck in today's video. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so one thing I did want to make sure that I mentioned about this deck is in this classic challenge that I ended up winning. Yes, I did lose a couple of times, but that happens every now and then, especially if you're facing Lava Hound decks. I'll show you a match against the Lava Hound deck later on. I actually faced 4 Lava Hound decks on the way up to this victory, that's a tough matchup, but there's things that you can do. I only lost to 1 Lava Hound deck. Now, in my way to do this challenge, I actually ended up 3-crowning my opponent 7 of the 12 wins. That is crazy. I mean, that's over 21 trophies farmed very easily. Now, I did want to show this match right here because we're facing against a hog user that has that Inferno Tower. This is an excellent option to use against the Inferno Tower. It's actually the entire reason why I put the Lumberjack, or the Battle Ram, into the deck, because it does such a good job at countering the Inferno Tower when you're going on the offense. This deck puts a lot of pressure on ground troops, and so kind of how Lava Loon decks put a lot of pressure onto your opponent's deck to try and make sure that they don't have enough counters to take out all your air troops. This is kind of a similar thing where you're putting so much ground pressure that your opponent has a difficult time countering all of it. Obviously, when you're playing this deck, one of the biggest things your first goal should be to try and get as many pumps down as possible. I did not have a very good opening hand when I was playing this match, and so I ended up having to put down that PEKKA in the very far back because I knew that my opponent had an Ice Wizard down the other lane, and I wanted to do my best to try and be able to apply some pressure and make it so that he couldn't add some supporting troops. That Bandit does such a great job, even if she does get damage, at getting to the tower as long as your opponent does not have great distraction troops. Here we are able to put down another pump. Now I know that he's probably really close to cycling back to his Hog Rider, and so what I actually do is I just go ahead and put down a PEKKA in the very far back. He's cycled back to Hog Rider, he's going to play it, I'm going to ignore it. One of the biggest reasons why this deck does so well is when you ignore your opponent's control pushes. Now, you basically you're using your tower's health as a resource, as a way to build up time so that you can build up a massive push. Right here, my opponent's playing a control deck. He can't stop 2 PEKKAs. There are 30 seconds left. His tower just has 200 hit points left, and it's gone. It's gone. And with this giant push going on right here, he doesn't have lightning, he doesn't have fireball, there's nothing that he can do. Even placing down that Inferno Tower that is locked onto the PEKKA, there's just nothing. Both PEKKAs make it to the tower. I have that baby dragon, the battle ram hits there, and that is a solid 3-crown victory against a pretty balanced deck. Like I said, this deck is fantastic at 3-crowning your opponent. Okay, so I mentioned that this deck does struggle a little bit against Lava Hound decks. It's hard because this deck has it doesn't have a super strong way of clearing a Lava Hound that is being well supported by either lightning or minions or mega minion or even baby dragon. So right here I put down the pump. I had the pump in the hand. That's almost the best thing that you can do. And so what I think the best option is to try and get cycled out there, put some pressure onto the other lane, and if he has an all-air deck, he's going to have a very difficult time stopping Battle Ram. In fact, while I'm defending this side right here, I'm putting pressure with that Battle Ram. I put down that Bandit. She goes straight for the tower, and yes, he's going to do a ton of damage onto my tower right here because all I have to stop that balloon is a baby dragon. But right now, I've got hit both of his towers down to 1200 points, or hit points. Now, at this point, I can cycle down to the other left, or the other lane. I had no idea that he had Skeleton Army, and so I wasn't able to support that with my Zap. That was my bad, but that's okay. We're able to defend a little bit right here. I used the Mega Minion to try and build up some type of a push. I could have used the Skeleton Army, but decided not to. And so at this point, we'll put down a Bandit, try and apply some pressure. He does not have any ground troops to even distract right there. Now that lightning was kind of interesting. I liked how it stopped for a second, then the Bandit appeared, and then it got lightninged. I thought that was kind of interesting. Was not expecting that. Now at this point, I know that I am basically going to have to make this a 3-crown victory because my tower's health is almost down. He's most likely going down to the other lane because he has the lightning to be able to take down that one tower. And so I feel confident in my ability to be able to just take my P.E.K.K.A down the right-hand lane and then take out that other tower with that battle ram because he's not cycled back to his skeleton army, and that knight does not do a great job of stopping that battle ram. This baby dragon's going to be able to stop those minions, and right now I'm focusing on defending with my 2 air units, my baby dragon and my mega minion, and then putting as much pressure on the ground, the other lane, as possible. I cycle back to this, the battle ram. My bandit is going crazy on the tower. The P.E.K.K.A is making its way there. His balloon is doing some damage to my tower, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough damage right there. Now, he was able to defend my push, but I only have to make 1 easy push. It is kind of a risky moment right here, though, because if he makes 1 good balloon push, then I am in trouble. So what he's doing here, he's not sure exactly how he should defend, and he's struggling. He doesn't end up placing that balloon right there, and that lets my P.E.K.K.A finish off the tower with another 3-crown victory. Like I said, I faced 4 Lava Hound decks and I lost to 1 on this Classic Challenge, and when I'm playing Classic Challenges, I face these Lava Hound decks all the time. And it really comes down to whether or not I'm able to have a good starting hand and being able to apply the pressure at the right times. That's a good example of how you can do that and end up winning those Lava Hound matches. Okay, so this is the challenge winning match. It's actually me versus a Royal Giant deck, which is pretty interesting. Usually Royal Giant players are not able to get to the 12th round because Royal Giant isn't actually that strong. It's strong when over leveled, but that's a whole nother topic. We could talk about that for hours, and people do that on Reddit all the time. Anyway, so he puts down that furnace, and that gives me a good opportunity for me to cycle out and get to that pump down there. Now, he's applying pressure on the right-hand lane. That furnace is in a position where if I put my battle ram on that tile to the left of the bridge, my battle ram will ignore it. You can also do that with the bandit as well, except for the skeleton, or the tombstone. The tombstone's a little bit more difficult. I stopped that musketeer with that skeleton army, and that does put a little bit of pressure on that furnace. I don't remember if those skeletons do some damage. Okay, the skeletons help out with that. The baby dragon does an excellent job at supporting that bandit right there. I love the baby dragon being able to do some splash damage right there, and he's not sure. He's kind of leaking some elixir. He's struggling. I see that Royal Giant. I'm like, okay, I gotta get rid of this guy. I put down a P.E.K.K.A. 1 elixir more, no health is taking out on my P.E.K.K.A, and I'm able to go for a counter push right here. I'm not sure what kind of supporting troops he has. I'm not sure if he has a defensive building other than the furnace. Most likely he doesn't, though. I'm gonna go ahead and put this battle ram right here because this battle ram is gonna end up going right to the tower while everything else is being distracted, and they're gonna finish off that musketeer. It wasn't really, I was hoping to do more damage to the tower, but at least I'm in a really good spot right here. I can go ahead and put down my pump right here. I'm saying well played because he did a really good job at defending that. That was a tough push to be able to stop. This is the 12th round, and so we're both, pressure is high. We're doing the best that we can. I had lost twice on my way up there. And so I knew that this was either win it or lose it. But the nice thing is he's got a giant or a big tanky deck. I know that if I put my P.E.K.K.A in the back on the lane that he's trying to go for, then it's going to be very difficult for him to even make a push on there. Now, he was smart in putting his Royal Giant down there early, but because I was able to go down the other lane with that battle ram, I was able to successfully take out that tower, and that puts me in a really good position because in order for him to make it past to take out my tower, he has to make it past this giant push that I've got going on right here. I put that P.E.K.K.A in the middle there to try and finish off that furnace, and it ended up working. He put down a Royal Giant to try and soak up some damage so that Musketeer could take it out. And here we, once again, just a massive push going onto the tower. In fact, a lot of the times when I end up 3-crowning my opponent, it's not because the P.E.K.K.A makes it to the tower, it's because they work so hard to try and stop that P.E.K.K.A that they can't stop everything else. This deck is super fun. Make sure you take advantage of splitting those pushes so you have a big push going down one lane and then use the Battle Ram down the other lane. If they have the Inferno Tower, make sure you're using that Battle Ram, or you can also put down that Mega Minion or even the Bandit if you're careful, using that Zap as well. Guys, this deck is super fun. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share. For now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in the arena.